So I wanted to make sure you guys know that I am doing these videos and I'm doing all of this to pretty much protect my mother and me. Earlier today, I told my mom, I'm going to have to get away from these people. And she was really upset. So what the gang stalkers did was they started to bang and say, look, you upset your mom because she thinks you're leaving her. No, she doesn't think that. And she didn't think that. What I see what they want to do is control every interaction I have with everyone in this world. So they said they're going to keep talking to me so that they'll be correcting what I'm saying and want me to feel feelings of shame, guilt, anger, so they can trigger those emotions at a later point. So they said that this will enable me to know when something I do is wrong. Doesn't that sound like an abusive stalker? That's a horrible group of people. So earlier, um, they said, oh, it's your mother's time to die. It was to make me upset. When I told my mom that, they were knocking some more. So you can tell that their death threats aren't just against me, it's against my mother. Someone's outside yelling, but they said it's not downstairs. I'm on the 14th floor. They said it's above me. I'm in the bedroom. There's no neighbor. This apartment is the sort of the side. So this wall behind me is outside. That's the street. So they said, well, it can't be below because I'm on the 14th floor. It has to be the person above yelling out of the window. I don't know. I don't know. But to give you guys an idea of how these people operate, they operate by shifting the focus on the camera because they said they don't want the world to see me. I told you folks, I've worked with the public for decades. When I worked with the public for decades, people took my picture. The world has seen me already. Another thing is they said that they didn't want people to see my hair. They didn't want people to see me in different things. The point is, I'm dealing with a group of people who thought they could manipulate and control everything I do and say. And they created this quote unquote, they said bully program where they bully me. And they follow me around, they yell things, they spread vicious rumors, hit me in the head, monitor everything I'm doing and saying. And they said they have a computer generated mock-up of me and my brain. And I did a video called Shamega's Brain, so please check that out. And what they did was they said by magnetizing my entire body, they can monitor my movements, but also control some of my bodily functions. I said in the previous video that they caused me to have heavy menstrual bleeding. If I didn't put it in the video, I might have put it on Twitter. And they also caused ovulation and other things. And that's in my adult rated video. So I don't go into full detail, but I wanted to warn you folks that that video contains the other language, which is something that I shouldn't have my privacy invaded that way. But they also said that they pressurize and depressure the apartment so they can control when I'm burping and farting and all of those bodily functions. So they wanted to make it seem like I had a chip in my brain. I don't have a chip in my brain. What it is them creating the tension in the back of my neck to control my emotions, on top of my head to control bodily functions and movements. They said they wanted to do this so that it shows that they're controlling me. And that's why they called me the filthy idiot, because they thought that throughout my life that they could take credit for what I'm doing by hitting me in the head. That's what they said. So just to tell you folks, I don't want to make this video too long. They said that they were trying to create images in my eyes, and eventually by hitting me so much with let me take my glasses off so you can see. Eventually they said my eyes, they thought my pupils would stay dilated and that my pupils wouldn't adjust after a while, because I would pretty much, they would damage my eyes. And they said that they could create macular degeneration because of hitting me so much. Let me focus this. it's moving and shifting. So, so what they wanted to do is have one eye go in one direction by magnetizing it and creating movement of my eyes. They wanted to traumatize me, get me so upset with the death threats that they're making against me and my mom. The other thing that they wanted to do is they wanted to lie on me so that nobody would believe me. Nobody would ever believe that this is happening. But you guys can see in the video where my face looks different one day, the next day it looks a different way. Again, someone else is yelling. So just to get back on this, so the magnetizing the body is to not only to control my bodily movements, but to have this Shamega brain show what part of my body is aching and what part, where they marked me. They said the marks on my body aren't just to make me feel pain, but it's to sort of have a computer generated mock-up of me that they could monitor exactly what feelings I'm having and what sensations I'm having. And then they can control it. So they said it would be impossible for them to keep doing it, but they wanted to be able to do it to show that the inventor created something. He created a torture device. I told you in a previous video that they even said that this is something that the Israeli military came up with to stop terrorism. They should not be using it on an American citizen. I am an American citizen. I have been all my life. It's torture and it's illegal. The last part about this that I wanted to say is that the whole point of doing this to me was that I wasn't supposed to be believed. They said that they would record me in the privacy of my own home, then release tapes. There's nothing interesting going on in the privacy of my own home. Those folks who know me well, and not the ones who they said are in their network who will be willing to lie on me. The real people who know me well. No, there's nothing interesting about me. They said they'll lie and say I beat my mother. If you've heard my mother in the videos and you know our relationship, my mother would never allow me to beat her. Having me say something to you folks and they record it, they then cannot say I said it initially, because I did not. They said something bad's going to happen to your mother. It's your mother's time to die. So when they're saying it and I repeat it and I say, they said it's your time to die. They said that they will then release a tape saying that I told my mother that. No, I'm telling you folks that, and I'm telling the world that. They then said they'll change it around on me and say, well, you just told her a moment ago that you're going to record a video where you say it's your time to die. That just gives you an idea into how these people are trying to manipulate me. And they claim they've been doing this to me for years, since childhood. That goes to show you, either if it's true, it's child abuse. But if it's not true, it's the idea that these people wanted to make it seem like my life is in their hands and that they are part of my life. They wanted to steal my likeness. They wanted to steal my identity. They said they were going to repackage everything like in my life and put it in more books like this book. It's a pattern of behavior with these types of people, and I'm letting the world know that. God forbid something happens. I watch too many news stories about young girls missing. I told you in a previous video, I don't want to be on missing, but I also don't want something bad to happen to my mother. So I have to tell you folks this. If nothing else comes from this situation, I want you to know that these types of people exist. Knowledge is power. I used to say that on my old YouTube channel. Knowledge is power. You can't have power over something you don't know exists. But we can have power if we tell each other that there are people out there stealing your ideas, stealing your likeness, stealing your identity, dividing your life up into parts and selling it off to other people. They said if I die, they were going to put an insurance policy in my name or an insurance policy out on me so that someone can profit. Every little bit of my life they tried to take. So they said, we never thought you would tell people that you were used this way. Why would I not? Why would I not? Because so God forbid, I'm going to tweet that also to the FBI and CIA. If someone has an insurance policy out on me, that's fraud and that's a crime. So these are all the little things that I want you guys to know. The criminals do. They can put out insurance policies on your name. They can bring people into your life designed to slowly kill you and get you to a point where you are unbelievable. No one will believe you and discredit you. They can take your name. They told me throughout the years, your name is so ugly. It was so ugly that they put my name in a book. And I just want to pause this for a moment and give you guys another look at a page of this book so you know for sure that I'm not lying. My likeness is in this book. Hold on for one moment, folks. So in a previous video, I showed you some of the things about this book. So here it is. This is me, Shamega Johnson. This was my professor at Fordham. Here I am in this part. So you can read this passage in this book. Okay, let me go to another page. All right, so here's about me also. And I used to have braids, and here you see. I'm described, okay? And I used to have braids during this time. And you see how read this passage? When you Google Shamega, even though they changed my last name, it still comes up with Pickaninny. Okay? So all of these things come up in this book. And that's how they planned on recreating things from this book and making it seem and having me respond so that they said they can write dialogue and they can write about it. So this did not happen. You see how this says white boys, black girl. So I'm supposed to be the black girl that this happened to. This is not true. So the elements that are not true, these stalkers thought it was true. And they said they're going to embarrass me for blaming a bunch of white boys or raping me. As it happened in this book. It's not true. That didn't happen. That little bang is my mom in the background. So that did not happen. And what's so sad about this is that if anybody thought that did happen to me, and instead of confronting me like a normal people and saying, well, what happened? They instead thought that they would shame me. They were trying to shame me about something that's not true. It's not true. So I wanted to make sure you guys can see the passages and see exactly what these people thought they were going to confront me about. Let me pause this for a moment. So they were going to have a big confrontation with me to confront me about my evil ways of lying and saying things. I'm not a liar. Everyone who knows me knows I'm not a liar. I'm also not somebody, they said, well, you're not being nice. I'm not nice. I'm a 48-year-old black woman from the Bronx. If I had been nice, this would have happened to me years ago. I think what went wrong in my life with these people is that I must have been nice to them. And they took it the wrong way. And they said the reason they thought it was me is that they're trying to translate from English into a different language. And since their first language isn't English, it's hard. But you can even tell that the way they're phrasing things, it's your time to die. Like Americans, we don't tend to speak that way. So they said, oh my God, you're going to offend people from foreign countries.